Okay, so this is London Wolf at 3:49 p.m. on Tuesday, September 27th. And I'm now going to ask Jim Patterson some structured interview questions.
Okay.
What was your path to the academy?
My personal path? Well, I originally started working at the college level at Ball State University as an assistant director of admissions, and then became a senior assistant director. Worked there for about 6 years, and at that point started investigating some other opportunities. I was really interested in working with high school students in college counseling, academic guidance, and those sorts of things. Found out about the opportunity here at the academy and ended up here as in college counseling. So prior to that, I was working in social services and things like that prior to coming back to the college level kind of work. So I went from college admissions to here.
What was so interesting particularly about this place?
I think the opportunity to work with, first of all, with high school students, and not just high school students, but the gifted and talented level of high school students. I knew it would open up a lot of doors in terms of me becoming more familiar with other colleges and what they offer students. I was pretty well focused on one institution, obviously, so this gave me a chance to work with high school students at a much higher ability, high school students at a higher level, and then in turn work with other colleges and universities in helping students access their opportunities, especially those that are more elite, maybe more prestigious, that have that are recruiting and interested in students of high academic ability. That thing just went off. Is that okay?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So there were those things, as well as I think being able to work more closely with students and parents in general. Sometimes in college admissions, you don't. Well, a lot of times you don't get that type of interaction. You have some interaction with students, but pretty limited, and the same with parents. So this just gave me a chance to work, a little more directly and more closely with people overall. Yeah.
Which aspects of your work at the academy have had the greatest meaning for you?
I think helping students get where they want to go, helping them learn more about themselves as it relates to selecting a career in a college and making those kinds of decisions. There are a lot of choices out there, and students have a lot of great opportunities, a lot of great things they can do, but being able to help them find out about themselves so that they can make better decisions about what they want to do and where they want to go has been really, really rewarding, I think. And I'd like to think that I've helped a lot of kids get where they want to go, ultimately. Maybe not ultimately in terms of a career, but at least in terms of selecting an area that they're interested in studying, and then a college to facilitate that.
What do you wish you had known about the academy before you began working here?
That's a good question. Probably do you want me to turn that thing off?
I mean, it might help.
I'm sorry. I didn't think about that until I started some country music. What were we talking about again?
What you wish you had known before coming to the academy?
I guess maybe a little more about the diversity of the students here, and a little bit more about the rigor of the curriculum and how that affects students, how it impacts them in terms of their ability to succeed. You have a general understanding, but until you really get here, it's difficult to know. And I guess I didn't realize the diversity in students in terms of not just their academic ability, but their socioeconomic status, how they interact with one another, what they're looking for ultimately, whether it be college or careers or jobs, all those sorts of things. So I'd probably say those were the things that maybe stand out. The level of, or the differences among students that, we've got them coming from all parts of the state, from all different kinds of backgrounds, and I probably wasn't as aware of that until I got here and really got to know the students and the families.
Like, how big was the gap from your information before coming and then after you got here?
Well, there was a gap. There was a pretty big gap, really. And I found it interesting because working essentially across the street in college admissions, we, at least at Ball State at that time, it's different now, but I didn't really know that much about the Indiana Academy, quite honestly. I mean, we knew obviously that it was a school with some really good students, but I don't think we knew enough about it to pursue the kids like we should have at that time. I've tried to make that better and different now, having worked there and now having worked here and kind of knowing what we needed to do to communicate better. But I was a little bit surprised at the level of students here and what actually went on and the type of curriculum it was. It's easy to read it on paper or to see it statistically, but until you get here, you really don't have a good understanding of it. So, and that bothered me, being a block away at a major school and not knowing that much about the academy, and having had the academy in my recruiting territory the last couple of years that I was there, that really stood out. Really kind of, I don't know if disappointing is a good word, but alarming that this school was not more well known by its home institution. So changing that has taken a little time, but I think we're doing a better job. Ball State's doing a better job of communicating with one another and knowing more about the students and what the university offers. So,
what is the social dynamic of the academy workplace compared to that of your previous workplace?
the social dynamic of the academy compared to this, I would say at Ball State it was much more, I don't know how to say it, professional in the sense that we didn't have a lot of students around, obviously, all the time. And the students were at a little different level, probably mature-wise. So it was much different working in that setting. I worked much more closely with, I don't know if that's a good way to say it, worked much more with professional staff and administrative staff than I do here, if that makes sense, because I'm much more involved with students here and with parents, and so that was a huge difference. The atmosphere here, there's just more enthusiasm. There's more, maybe a little more passion for learning and for what's ahead and all those sorts of things than I experienced at the college level. So it's quite a bit different, but in a good way. I mean, it's been a really positive experience. So.
How do you think having worked at the academy will affect your future?
Well, that's kind of hard to say. I think it opens doors, it will open doors to what I could do professionally, whether it means going back to, say, working at the college level, in student affairs, which encompasses different things, not just admissions, but it's broadened my knowledge base and has allowed me to be able to work better with people in many different areas, certainly at the college level and even in high school and working with parents. I'm much more knowledgeable, and I have more or diverse ways of thinking and looking at different things. So in the future, beyond here, I don't know. I mean, I think it will definitely be able to help me. If I want to do so, it will help me in getting jobs at higher levels if I want to stay in this field and continue to move along. So it's allowed me, it's given me a lot of good experience and good perspectives, which I think people are looking for, you know, if you want to pursue higher levels of work, particularly in higher education as a dean or director of a program. So at this point, with the experience that I've had here, my past experience in admissions, I mean, I think I could do some pretty good things if that's what I want to do.
How do you think this college admissions office is different than a normal public high school would be?
The one positive thing about the academy in that regard is that we have one office that's just college counseling, just college admissions, career types of things. Most public high schools don't offer that. You know, you may have 5 or 6 guidance counselors, but they're all dabbling in academic guidance, scheduling, a little bit of college counseling, mental health counseling. So that's one really positive thing about, and a good selling point for the academy is that you've got college counseling, academic guidance, and mental health counseling all separate and one director for each area. So I think that's very positive. It allows us to work much more closely with students. Whereas if I had to do academic guidance and a little bit of mental health counseling to go along with all the stuff that we do here in college counseling, it would be very difficult. And students would be shortchanged. They just wouldn't get the depth or a lot of the opportunities that they have because we're more specialized. So that's very positive, I think, and something that we try to really use in marketing and recruiting for prospective students, is that we're not quite spread so thin, and so we're able to do more for students related to college counseling and career exploration, all those kinds of things. Yeah.
Okay. That concludes this interview
That's it.
at
Okay.
4:03 p.m.